3 people have been killed in a knife attack at a church in the French city of Nice, police say. President Emmanuel Macron denounced the Islamist terrorist attack at the Notre Dame Basilica after visiting the scene in the southern city. One elderly victim who was praying was virtually beheaded. Another woman and a man also died. A suspect was shot and detained shortly afterwards. 2 other attacks took place on Thursday, in France and Saudi Arabia. A man was shot dead in Montfavet near the southern French city of Avignon after threatening police with a handgun. Separately, a guard was attacked outside the French consulate in Jeddah in Saudi Arabia. A suspect was arrested and the guard taken to hospital. In pictures, scene of knife attack in Nice. Anti-terror prosecutors have opened a murder inquiry and France has raised its national security alert system to its highest level. Nice Mayor Christian Estrosi spoke of Islamofascism and said the suspect had repeated endlessly, "Allahu Akbar, God is greatest." Mr. Estrosi compared the attack to the recent murder of teacher Samuel Paty, who was beheaded close to his school outside Paris earlier this month. Police have not suggested a motive for the attack in Nice. However, it follows days of protests in some Muslim-majority countries triggered by President Macron's defense of the publication of cartoons that depicted the Prophet Muhammad. There have been calls in some countries for a boycott of French goods. Meanwhile, 2 further attacks took place on Thursday morning, one in France and one in Saudi Arabia. A man was shot dead in Montfavet near Avignon after threatening police with a handgun. And a guard was attacked outside the French consulate in Jeddah in Saudi Arabia. A suspect was arrested and the guard taken to hospital. What is known about the attack in Nice? 2 of those who died were attacked inside the church, the elderly woman and a man who was found with his throat cut, reports said. A woman managed to flee to a nearby cafe after being stabbed several times, but died later. It later emerged that a witness had managed to raise the alarm with a special protection system set up by the city. Chloe, a witness who lives near the church, told the BBC, "We heard many people shouting in the street. We saw from the window that there were many policemen coming, and gunshots, many gunshots." Tom Vanier, a journalism student who arrived at the scene just after the attack, told the BBC that people were crying on the street. 4 years ago Nice was the scene of another terror attack, when a Tunisian drove a truck into crowds celebrating Bastille Day on the 14th of July, killing 86 people. Disorientated and frightened, the terrorist threat level in France is as high now as it was in 2015-16, the terrible days of Charlie Hebdo, Bataclan, the Nice lorry killer and the murder of Father Hamel in his church in Rouen. Things were bad enough then, and many more people died in those attacks. So why does this outbreak of Islamist violence feel somehow more scary? One reason must be the symbolism of the Samuel Paty beheading. That a simple history teacher could be murdered, and not randomly but actually selected for murder, has been deeply unsettling for French people. Likewise the targeting today of Christian worshippers in Nice. But it is also the context, the instant logic of action response that followed President Macron's robust defense of secularism at Samuel Paty's memorial 10 days ago. All it took was a speech, then there were the threats, then there were the deaths. With a new COVID lockdown providing an eerie backdrop to these events, small wonder the French are feeling disoriented and frightened. What has the reaction been? A minute's silence was held in the National Assembly, where Prime Minister Jean Castex had just been giving details of the COVID-19 lockdown measures coming into force on Thursday night. Announcing the raising of the Vigipirate National Security Alert System to its highest level, Mr. Castex said the Nice attack was, as cowardly as it is barbaric. The French Council of the Muslim Faith condemned the knife attack and spoke of its solidarity with the victims and their families. British Prime Minister Boris Johnson, tweeting in English and French, said the UK stood steadfastly with France. What has the reaction been? A minute's silence was held in the National Assembly, where Prime Minister Jean Castex had just been giving details of the COVID-19 lockdown measures coming into force on Thursday night. Announcing the raising of the Vigipirate National Security Alert System to its highest level, Mr. Castex said the Nice attack was, as cowardly as it is barbaric. The French Council of the Muslim Faith condemned the knife attack and spoke of its solidarity with the victims and their families. British Prime Minister Boris Johnson, tweeting in English and French, said the UK stood steadfastly with France.